This video is for Jeff Moreau and all of his physics classes. It seems like he teaches a lot. So Mr. Moreau, or Jeff, whatever you prefer. First question you asked was about whether I had any moments that inspired me to pursue a path in physics. And there were a lot, but they all had to do with my mind being blown by some fact about the universe. One specific one I remember well was in 10th grade. I was taking an astronomy class with actually the physics professor who's now working as the head writer of my Physics 101 course. And he taught us about neutron stars. And we had learned before that, okay, so first fact that blew my mind, we had learned that we are basically empty space. Like atoms are these protons and neutrons and electrons that are really, really, really far away. And then each of those, the protons and neutrons, are made of quarks that are incredibly far away. So all of that in there is mostly empty space. So that's what you learn first. Atoms are just like spacious. Most of it is not mass, it's space. So that was cool and interesting because we feel solid, but we're not. And then we learned during the astronomy class that there's something called a neutron star. And the neutrons are basically touching. There's a bit more to it, which I still don't fully understand because it's a quantum principle. There's aspects of just not being in the same state. And that's when it gets unintuitive and just mathy. But I found out that these neutron stars, like a teaspoon of them, I don't know, weighs like many, many, many kilograms. It's insane. They're so heavy because you take all of that space out and you just mash these neutron stars together. And that happens because they're so massive, there's so much gravity that it pulls all the neutrons together. And if you got any closer, you would basically have a black hole. But I remember learning about neutron stars and being like, what? This is so cool. People study this. How do they know? And asking all these questions. And I learned about being a physicist or an astronomer, and I wanted to do that. I have to just Google the mass of the density of a neutron star stuff. A neutron star, blah, blah, blah. A teaspoon, oh, I was off. A teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh about 10 million tons. That's crazy. Yeah, so crazy. Okay, so one physics fact that I think more people knew, I'll give one that's a more basic intro physics fact, a bit of a misconception. So I wish more people understood that at the very top of like a trajectory of something in free fall, at the very top, your velocity goes to 0, but your acceleration stays the same. I wish more people understood things like that, where you're analyzing how this object is moving, and as it goes up, your velocity is changing, but you're still pulling down with the exact same acceleration, and the same force actually, because the acceleration is only related to the mass and the force. Yes, that's one thing. One like advanced physics thing that I wish more people knew is this theoretical idea that black holes can evaporate. And I think that's a really cool idea. And it's an idea that Stephen Hawking came up with. It's this idea that we know that particles can pop into existence from the vacuum. That's something that we know. But right near the event horizon of a black hole, where things get sucked into the black hole and they never come back out, they never escape, right there, if you had these little particles popping into existence, you could have like an antiparticle pair, antiparticle and a particle pair, and then the antiparticle can go into the black hole and the particle goes off into space. And we see that as something called Hawking radiation, where the antiparticle goes in, annihilates with some matter, hypothetically, and then the matter particle goes off and is seen as radiation from the event horizon of a black hole. That concept to me, that's the process of how the evaporation would work, but the concept that a black hole could evaporate is so cool, and I wish more people knew about that.